Now, there's a local nonprofit here in Detroit working to help children and families shape their own futures. Fox 2 Detroit's Hillary Golston takes us to a town hall in Detroit where local leaders are finding their own solutions to some tough problems.
The Congressional Commission on the Social Status of Black Men and Boys is a bipartisan commission to investigate potential civil rights violations affecting black males and study the disparities they experience in education, criminal justice, health, employment, fatherhood, mentorship, and violence. The gap is wide, and yes, maybe there's something lawmakers can do, but communities aren't waiting. They're finding their own solutions.
Not everything is about politics and red and blue, black and white issues. A lot of the times it's just about people. It's just about the community.
Instead of looking for external solutions, the answer really can be found in the community, in cultural standards, understanding, addressing taboos, and getting to the heart of the problem.
Antiquated ideas like, hey, I'm your authority, suck it up, you'll be fine, just won't help.
18-year-old Tristan Stallworth was alongside a number of community leaders at a town hall in Detroit, one in a series tied to the crisis to connection, an imperative for our black boys. Several meetings meant to bring about tangible and substantive change in the life trajectory of black boys in Detroit and Wayne County.
What's working, what's not working.
Kevin Fisher, a Crisis to Connection co-chair, is a mental health expert. The focus this weekend on addressing all those kinds of issues.
Unfortunately, I'm a parent who had a son was diagnosed with serious mental illness, and unfortunately, I lost my son to suicide. When I reached out for support, I never had a fear that if I was trying to get my son help, that I was going to get in trouble. We have to eliminate that stigma, that fear, that seeking help is going to somehow get us in trouble. It's just the opposite.
They're connected with law enforcement, members of the justice system, and, of course, mental health professionals. They're continuing to add community input now to change lives, which they believe has an important ripple effect that we don't often acknowledge.
At the end of the day, improving the quality of life in every community. We don't want this to be a study that ends up on a shelf somewhere that never bears fruit. Our intention when we initiated this imperative was to make this a real productive mission with outcomes.
This is the first of several town halls. In the future, they'll be talking with community members about their experiences with law enforcement and the criminal justice system.
Wow, I absolutely love that story.
Great effort. And listen, we have to make mental health and mental awareness and getting help, we have to normalize that. There is too much going on in this world, and then you lay on top of that being a black man, being a black woman, the anxiety, the stressors, the triggers. If you need to go talk to somebody who is equipped to handle that and to help you find tools and to help you find your voice and to help you cope. You know, my family just experienced just a devastating loss. We lost 2 family members in a house fire, and you know, I've grown in my wisdom to know that, you know, if I was feeling a certain kind of way, to go and seek that help. I'm not feeling that right now, but I'm also policing and looking out for family members who, now that we're back in our separate homes and kind of, you know, back to our lives, just to tap in and to make sure that they're still okay and on the up and up. And I think it starts right there.
Yes, it does.
Tapping into our loved ones and then hoping that you can encourage them to maybe go seek some professional help if it's gotten to a point where you can't manage it anymore.
That's right. And I think for so long, mental health has been so incredibly stigmatized in our community. It's always been sort of seen as taboo, but that's only beginning to change in the past few years or so. And it's incredibly interesting and poignant and relevant when you think about this for young black boys in particular, right? And for our children in particular, especially when you think about in light of, say, the recent mass shootings that we've had in recent years and what have you, there's always a talk about the impact on the survivors of it, and rightly so. But do we ever shift that conversation to young black and brown boys and girls, men and women, where gun violence, sadly, is a bit more commonplace? Do we have that conversation and the impact that has on generations, and what does that sort of trauma produce? And that's something that really hasn't been a focal point, sadly, but it's very much a reality.
Yeah, and even taking that point and, with all of these police reports that are coming out, these stories that are coming out that involve, mental health and maybe the lack of training for our police to deal with that. So this is a huge all-around problem that we're going to have to continue to face and really try to get a handle of.
The good news is, though, I think we are moving in the right direction.
I agree.